Good morning, Pelham Road. Well, it's Storytelling Friday, and I'm telling this story from my office, so there's a likelihood that you're going to hear some noise outside that door. That's why I pointed the camera this way, so that you'd understand that there are children that are leaving school right now, so you're just liable to be a lot of noise, but I'll do the best I can. I think I might need to change the camera angle just a little bit. All right, maybe that'll be better. Hey, I got to introduce a few things to you for this story. This is a mule. That's Heiny the mule. That's her name, Heiny the mule. This is a holler. A holler is kind of a ravine and valley out in the country somewhere. That's a holler in Kentucky. And this is a swinging bridge from that holler across a river into town. And all of these things play prominence in this story, all right? So, well, Heiny the mule was getting older, aging, needed to be replaced. So the granddaddy and his grandson decided that it was time to walk Heiny the mule through the holler into town. So they started off, he has a grandson that's about 8 or 9 years old. So he starts off with the grandson on the mule, Heiny, and he's pulling it and, kind of leading him. And they're going through the holler, and the first place they pass in the holler is the Methodist church. And the Methodist ladies are having their circle group. If you know what a circle group is, it was kind of a prayer group, and they're having a prayer group out by the old oak tree. And as soon as this man and his grandson get near them, you can hear one of the old ladies say, "Oh, Lord, have mercy. Look at that poor old man having to walk all the way to town, and that young boy just riding on the back of that mule, just sitting up there so fine and proper. And his old daddy, his old granddaddy, going to be wore out and tired. The young folks just don't have any respect for their older generation." Well, the granddaddy didn't want the boy to get a bad reputation. It wasn't like the boy demanded to get on the back of Heiny the mule. I mean, he just happened to be riding on the back of Heiny, and he didn't want the boy to get a bad reputation, so he whipped the boy off, and he whipped up on the back of Heiny the mule. Now the boy, he's 9, he's got good legs. He's pulling old Heiny the mule to town, or leading him. And so they're heading on through the holler, and they round a bend, and they go by the Baptist church this time. And at the Baptist church, the folks are coming out. They've been inside praying, and they are coming out of the church. And as they come out, there's this dear sweet lady. And well, that's what they called her, was a dear sweet lady. I think that's shorthand for something else. I don't know. But she looked at them and she said, "Oh gosh, do my eyes deceive me? Look at that strong man just riding on that mule while that little bitty boy has to walk all the way to town. It's a shame, just a crying shame that we mistreat our children like I do. I can't believe that they're doing that to that little boy." Well, of course, the granddad, he doesn't mean anything by it. I mean, he's not trying to hurt the boy or anything. So he decides, well, I don't want them to think I'm a bad guy. So he whips the boy up on the mule with him. So now we got the boy in the front and the older man in the back, and the mule, Heiny the mule's going to town. And so he's going to try to trade Heiny. I think I told you that at the beginning, but that's the whole point of taking him to town, is to trade him. Well, as they get closer to town, they pass this place where a bunch of old men are sitting outside, And old men, I don't know if you know this, but old men tend to gossip. And these men were gossiping and just talking, and they said, "Look at those holler people. Those holler people are fools. They're not like us city folks. Those holler people don't know anything. He's riding that mule, that boy's riding that mule. That mule's going to be all sweaty by the time he gets downtown, and they ain't going to be able to trade that thing for anything. It's going to look terrible. It's going to look all worn out and beaten down." Well, the grandfather thought the guy had a point. He wanted Heiny to look rested. He didn't want Heiny to look all sweaty and, dripping with water all over him. So he decided that, him and the boy both whipped off the mule. And Granddaddy thought for a moment what they could do, and he said, well, we're just going to have to lift up Heine. We're going to have to carry Heine. Heine's got to rest a little while before we get down to where we're going to trade her. And so they lift up Heine the mule, all right? And they're carrying Heine the mule, and they get down close to town where the swinging bridge goes across the water into town. And so they're carrying Heine the mule, and they're just struggling, you know, and they're swaying a little bit back and forth on the bridge, but they're holding on to Heine, and they're almost across, and then all of a sudden, Heine falls right off into the water and dies. And the moral of the story, if you try to please everybody, you'll lose your Heine.